Is there a cover? Dude, $5 is a lot of money. I could buy like a box of cereal with that or something like that. I mean, it's not like they put in any effort making those songs. What do you strum some chords? I mean, seriously, why is there a cover? Hey everybody, welcome to Is There a Cover, your podcast about songwriting. Here we talk about singing stories and living songs. Today I just wanted to take a couple seconds to thank everybody who came out to our show at Lambert's Friday night. We had a great time. Thank you so much for everybody who came and hung out with us. Thank you to John Stickley Trio. You guys were awesome. If you guys have not heard them, I think the best way to check them out is probably to find a live video of them playing, because it was startling how good it was and how quickly they could play. It was amazing. So definitely check them out. Also, I wanted to take a couple seconds to make an announcement. We have a special show coming up this Saturday, August 6th at the show starts the doors open at 6, music starts at 7. It's a secret sort of house show that we're doing through Blooming Artists, who is a company that's starting a house show app. It's pretty exceptional from what I can tell. And it's done through a good friend of mine who's also named Chris. But this show that we're doing is going to be a pretty unique, one-of-a-kind show where we're going to bust out some things that we haven't done before in a very intimate setting. I think we only have 15 seats left, and it's a very small room. And we're going to also be doing some video work there. So if you want to come hang out with us and be in a video that we're going to use, send me an email at isthereacoverpodcast@gmail.com or at chrisstrandmusic@gmail.com, and I will give you the info. And also, it's just donations. So I think we're doing a suggested donation of $10. But, if you want to come, send me an email, and I will hook you up with all the info and where you can sign up to get all the info for this kind of secret house show. Also, before we get into the show and you get to hear my interview with Daisy O'Connor, I wanted to take a quick second to just quickly address what happened last night. I'm recording this on Sunday, so last night there was a bit of a shooting, and 2 shootings in downtown Austin. And I just wanted to say very quickly that my heart goes out to everyone that was affected by this. When stuff happens like this, it's so tragic, and I never know what to do. And I'm sure other people can relate to this, where you want to help, but you don't know what to do. So if anyone knows of any way that people are helping out, the victims or those affected by this, please, feel free. I'd love to spread the word about it on this podcast to whoever would listen. So, send me an email, and I'll gladly, next show, I would love to announce what people are doing to help with this situation. So please feel free to send me an email. But today on the show, like I said, we have Daisy O'Connor, who is wonderful. We have probably one of my favorite conversations that I think I've had since I've started this show. We kind of run the gamut of topics. And we talk for a good amount about everything from, God to touring to, oh my goodness, to coming out and things like that. And we also had the privilege of having Daisy play 2 songs from her upcoming record. The first one that she played for us was Breaking the Box, and the second one was called Texas Rain. So we're going to start the show with not Texas Rain. We're going to start the show with Breaking the Box, and then we're going to end the show with Texas Rain. So stick around for that second song. Don't turn it off when the interview's done. But without further ado, here is Breaking the Box.
As a kid, I was taught to put God in a box where I could write all my prayers down and lock 'em up. They told me who he was, what he meant, what he thought. They told me there were people he didn't like a lot. And I'm breaking the box of my comfort zone. breaking the box of what I know. They said it's so simple, just follow God's word. But I hear God whisper in my ear, I'm everywhere. And the woman at the clinic, gay people in parades, the kid on the street, and the man with AIDS, the banker and the barista, the stripper in lace. If I'm looking for God, better get to know your face. And I'm breaking the box of my comfort zone, breaking the box of what I know. I'm outside the lines, I'm a rainbow pearl. Mama, I see God in the smile of a girl. Been torn apart and taped together again. I'm letting the light in, letting the light in, letting the light in. And just when I thought I couldn't get more lost, I got found. And I'm breaking the box of who I used to be, breaking the box of how you see me. I'm a woman, I'm a child, I'm a man of grace. If you're looking for God, better get to know my face.
So Daisy O'Connor, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris Strand.
So I know I'm going to say this in a previous introduction, but I'll say it again. You're on the podcast where we talk about singing stories and living songs, so welcome to it.
Thank you.
So how did you start playing music? Let's start with that. We're going to launch back right away.
Great. Let's look
Let's just
back.
do it. We're just going to get, because
Time
that's
travel.
productive.
Yeah.
That's productive. Dwelling in the past. I hear it makes
yes.
you happy.
Oh, yeah, it does. You just bury yourself in it.
Yeah, you just never get out of
Never leave.
childhood misery and
Trauma. Yeah. Well,
how did you start?
I first started playing guitar for the Lord when I was about 13, 14.
Yeah.
I borrowed a guitar from my neighbor and a few chord charts and just started learning, printed up some lyrics off the internet, praise and worship songs.
Nice.
And started playing them at youth group and playing them with my friends and got involved with the church band. And
okay. Oh, man. So you were really involved with all that.
I was somewhat involved with that. I loved it. I started writing songs. They were kind of like Christian punk songs, really.
Oh, like MXPX and all that stuff? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't that good, but I was looking
They're
towards
from that area, right? Like
I saw them a bunch of times. They
Washington.
must be from up there. I went to a lot of big Christian festivals where you didn't really know where anyone was from, but I mean.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Up in Washington, right?
Yeah, the one I went to a few times that sticks out the most was Creation Fest. They have that at the Gorge Amphitheater, or at least they used to. They probably still do. It's like 60,000 or 20,000. I don't know, a whole bunch of thousands of youth out there praising Jesus for a weekend and camping.
Crazy. Wow.
It was good, clean fun.
Interesting. So that was a big part of your life growing up. What was that like? Was like your family really religious or?
Yes, my family is really religious. They're actually,
I should say present tense.
they actually still are.
Yeah.
They're very Catholic, but they were into me being involved with Christianity by whatever means necessary. So I did all the Catholic stuff. I was super involved with that. And on top of that, I also went to church with some of my Protestant, non-denominational Christian friends.
Okay, cool.
I went to youth groups with them also, in addition to all the Catholic stuff I was doing. I was homeschooled, so I had a lot of time.
Oh,
And went to all their campouts and all retreats too, and just got really into the Christian music scene.
Cool.
Had my favorite bands and ordered all their CDs.
Oh, yeah?
Listened to them a million times. Yeah.
I did that too when I was young. We had a Crossroads bookstore, Christian bookstore.
Oh, yeah.
And I would order all of that stuff. And they all the CDs had those stickers on them that said, if you like this band, you will love.
It's great. And you're like, oh, this is the clean version.
Yeah. I won't get in trouble for these.
Jesus approved.
Exactly. Yeah. They have the Jesus stamp on it.
Exactly. You got to look for that stamp of approval. You don't want anything satanic getting in your ear holes,
Well, now I was going to ask you about that because you said that your parents wanted you to be involved by any means necessary.
Pretty much, yeah.
Were you like rebellious before you got religious?
No, not at all. I mean, I can't say not at all. I would say not at all, though. There was a brief period when I was about 12. I remember like me and my friends did a lot of performances for our neighbors. We were all homeschooled, so we'd practice different plays and learn a bunch of songs and do like talent reviews and little sketches for all the neighbors. And we'd charge them money and we'd send it all to a nonprofit, the Christian Appalachian Project, because we were all poor, but we were like, there's kids that are poorer than us.
In Appalachia?
In Appalachia. And I always had this fantasy about like the poor kids in Appalachia based on, I feel like there was some movie we watched that was based in like 1860 or something, like the Christie series or something like that. It was like in Appalachia. So we had all these romantic notions about what that was like.
Yeah. God, the only thing I remember growing up about Appalachia that we ever heard was there was, I think it was just a picture, and it was somebody like putting like a baby nipple on a Mountain Dew bottle.
Ooh.
And they were and it was like the kid drinking Mountain Dew bottle, this little baby, and it was like, what in the world?
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, where I grew up, people drank just as much soda.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like that up in Bellingham.
Yeah, I didn't really do it, but I think the neighbors did.
Yeah.
And like probably my darker period came when we started doing like Britney Spears songs at the talent review and like Spice Girls songs. And we started wearing like spaghetti strap tank tops were like really in when I was like 11, 12. I remember wearing a spaghetti strap a couple times and then feeling like super body shamed because like dudes that were like adults were checking me out, and I got like really sketched out by that, and I dove way deeper into Christianity. So
I could see where that would happen.
I started wearing like baggy t-shirts and men's pants. I was just like, I can't handle it. Like I just thought it was like a fun expression, and then I realized there was this whole other side I didn't know anything about. So I just like ran to Jesus for comfort. And he protected me.
Yeah, Jesus save me.
Yeah, please save me from sexy sexual offenders and such. Yeah.
Oh man, that's awful.
Yeah, there's some creepiness out in the country. You kind of know like where the neighborhood pedophiles are and such. So.
Real? What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Man, I'm sure. Goodness, because I don't remember any of that growing up. But
you're also a guy.
Yeah, that was.
That's not to say they didn't go after guys though, because they did.
I mean, I was a cute kid, but
I'm sure, yeah.
This is getting weird.
No, take us out of here.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting out of here. So you played with the worship band. Did you ever do like leading and all of that?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. I just kind of played along a few times, and then one time we played at Easter service. I guess I probably led or co-led with my friend at my friend's Christian. It was like a Lutheran church. Her dad was the pastor, so she like had us play something on Easter. It was like our big gig. So that's probably the height of that. I also was in the choir. I did like solos with the choir, but no like guitar focused stuff. I wasn't very good.
Okay. Yeah.
Still not super good at it, but I was like pretty not good at all then.
Just doing all like the cheater chords where you just
totally
you just bar everything on the third fret.
Yeah, that's where I learned how to do that stuff. Actually, it was in the church band. My friend Chris Orlowski. He's a musician. He's in Seattle. He's awesome. He taught me bar chords in church band. So,
nice.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
We used to always call those worship chords. Remember that? So did you ever then? Because it sounds like you were kind of on the edge of the whole religious aspect of it, like kind of like you were involved, but not like you weren't out there like trying to evangelize everyone, essentially. Or did you get really involved with that?
That wasn't a part of the community that I was in. Okay. I definitely wanted to be able to talk to anyone about it at any point and know what their religion was about already. Like I studied different religions, so I would kind of know what topics might come up so I could defend my faith. You know?
Because everyone's out to get you.
Because there was definitely a feeling of that in my family, that we are different than the world and that the world is going to try to hurt us in some way.
Interesting. So did that affect you as a kid?
Totally. Yeah.
Like, how did it affect you?
Kind of this us against the world mentality in your family, which is, I think, pretty toxic. Rather than becoming part of the world and learning how to deal with the challenges in the world, just trying to isolate yourself from it entirely and be really defensive all the time.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, because I know that's how it affected me for sure. Like, I went to, immediately when I became a teenager, I went to like punk rock, which was very like, you know, us against the world. And then even beyond that, like, it was just really hard to like make friends for a very long time because you don't know how to like communicate to people who have different ideas than you do or didn't.
Or you're scared of them. Yeah.
Because you have this idea like, oh man, they might, these people might fuck with me in some way. It's like nobody's going to.
Or their
fuck with
sins
you in some way.
might rub off on you or something. You might be corrupted.
And it's just, which is silly.
Yeah.
I think it's
silly too. I remember having a very serious conversation with my professor, Ben Cohen, when I was in college. He's one of my favorite people to this day. He really like saved my ass. Yeah. But I remember we were in this class. It was some honors English class. And I took one look at the textbooks he had and everything. I was like, oh, this looks so really inappropriate. And I took him aside after class. I was like, this is the first day. I don't know if I can do this. I'm super religious. Yeah. I feel like this might be in conflict with my beliefs. And he was like, well, you need to make whatever decision is right for you. But if you really are strong in your faith, then how could anything that a class brings up, like, how could that affect your faith? Oh. I was like, that's a damn good point. So I dove in head first and ended up changing like pretty much my whole belief system during the course of that 2-year degree program.
So what happened? Like, what did you change from and where did you end up? Because this will lead us into breaking the box, I think.
Yeah, I think it will. This is me breaking the box. So I went to college when I was 16. It was a program for high school juniors and seniors who qualified to get free college. You just paid for your books and transportation costs. So
that's awesome.
I went to the community college, drove there on my 77 Thunderbird every day. Super like hippie kid.
That's awesome.
And just started taking a lot of honors classes, and I was involved in the honors program as a secretary, I think, a recordings officer, and I was on student council. And during that time, a lot of stuff came up for student government relating to gay rights issues.
Interesting.
And I was kind of stuck in the middle of that, not because I did anything, but because the council made some really bigoted decisions, and I was on it.
What did they decide?
They decided, this is so long, this is like 13 years ago or something, they decided that they were gonna and like everyone on the student council was like me. They were all like homeschool kids that were like 16, 17, and they needed an extracurricular something to do, and they wanted to help, and they're service oriented. So we had this service activity planned to volunteer with Big Brothers Big Sisters or do some kind of fundraiser for them.
I did that was great.
Which it would have been great. One guy, one of the other 17-year-olds, very Christian, came to the council one day and was like, I just learned that Big Brothers Big Sisters allows homosexual men to mentor boys.
Oh, no.
And I don't think we should support this organization.
Oh no.
And I was like, okay, like we should talk about this more. Like this seems kind of reactionary and weird, even though I was like, I am Christian and I am interested in that. Like was a pretty concerning thing to me at that point, but I didn't vote to cancel the trip. I was like, I couldn't stand behind that. It seemed rushed, but they really quickly decided to cancel the whole thing.
Wow.
And it created this like complete chaos on campus. And there were like people protesting and press interviews and just like all this stuff. And I was not on the forefront of that. I was kind of the one that was like, we should talk about this more. And we didn't. So I didn't have like a super public face connected to that. Thank God, because that was terrible. Yeah. But it really had me question, like, what do I actually believe about all this stuff? Like, not what I've been told and not what, like what I was brought up with, but like, what do I think? And a lot of my friends came out to me during that time. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
It's college. That's when people start like coming out.
Yes.
Because mom and dad aren't around anymore. Yeah. And you can.
Totally. And I was like, well, I mean, they're all cool, awesome, nice, functional, healthy people. Like, I don't know, I had this perspective about homosexuality that was based on like horrible stereotypes, because I'd heard almost nothing about them. Like it was something you just didn't talk about in my house. It was almost like too bad to even acknowledge.
Right. Or you got like the equivalent of like, this is your brain on drugs ads.
Yes.
You know, where it's somebody smashing an egg or something.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
And like it's a sin that you can just fall into, like, oh, now I'm gay. Like, it's going to rub off on you again, the corrupting concept.
Exactly. And then they treat it as if like somehow that's a horrible thing. And it's like, what is so horrible?
Exactly.
There's nothing.
Yeah,
it's
being
fine.
straight can be just as devastating of a sexual preference as being gay. It really depends on how you handle your relationships and your sex life.
I think that's the thing that people should be focusing on. Everyone who's still, I don't know who's still hung up on it, but the people that are, absolutely, just forging like healthy relationships.
Yes.
Learning how to do that.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yeah.
Keeping it going. We're keeping it going.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was that huge controversy, and that caused you to change some things, or in other words, just like your song, it caused you to sort of break the box.
Yes. Everything started opening up.
Okay, and so in what ways did things open up?
Well, at first I got scared. And I accepted a scholarship to go to Dallas to a very Catholic school.
Okay.
When I was 18. So it would have been my freshman year. I already had 2 years of university under my belt. But
it's insane. You're a child still.
I know, but I was like, I feel like I need to leave where I'm from for a little bit and just get some different perspective. And it was, it's considered to be a good school, It's so I went. Sure. I got the scholarship. I went and I got there. I spent 4 months at the University of Dallas. I finished one semester. And during that time, I had a million epiphanies about how these are not my people, and I do not relate to any of this. Like, this is not my world.
Especially
I'm not one of them.
Because I'm assuming it was real, like, Texas conservative Christian, where it's
very Catholic, very, very Texas Catholic. Who knew that was a thing?
I didn't.
I
don't even know what that would be like.
Yeah, probably really similar to Texas Christian, like pretty much
Ted
exactly
Cruz-ish?
this. Yeah.
Which
I was probably me and my friend Josh, who I'm still friends with, he lives here now. We were the only people that I think voted for Kerry that election.
Yeah.
It's like Bush Kerry, and people, like, I lived on the second floor. Someone took a hose all the way upstairs and like soaked my door with water. So I had a little Kerry sign on it.
What?
People just like did really shitty things to me because I was different.
That's terrible.
And that's just one example I can remember. I know there was more stuff, but I had some really nice friends there too. We had like a little kind of outsiders clique. That was really great.
Yeah. Well, that's sadly something that seems to happen a lot. Like in any time that there's a us versus them sort of mentality. I hate that word, but I'm just going to say it. Anytime that exists where the group feels very threatened by something that they don't, there's no reason to be threatened by it.
Yeah. Somebody believes something different than you. Woo.
Yeah. God forbid, that's boogeyman.
Yeah.
We all have to just have some big monoculture, which is impossible.
Yeah. And not healthy.
No.
Yeah.
No,
that's how it was there. So that really broke open the box for me. I was like, I called my parents in December. I was like, so I'm coming home and I'd love to stay with you for a little bit and I'm not going to go to church. And they were like,
yeah, how was that?
Okay. And I went back and lived with my parents for a brief period of time and spent very little time at home. And
were they cool with you, like sort of stretching your wings a little bit?
Not really, which is part of the reason why I didn't spend a lot of time there, because it just was like I didn't really know what I was going through exactly. I just knew like it was a huge shift, and I started hanging out with my gay friends all the time, and we like marathon watched like Queer as Folk and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and like all kinds of stuff that has like queer characters in it. And it was like my gay education almost. I was like, there's worlds like outside of kind of just like cultural like music boot camp, and like we'd go up to Canada. That was right around the time I turned 19, so you could go to Canada and go dancing.
Nice.
So there was like an actual club scene because I grew up on the border in a small town, but like you could get to the city in an hour.
So. And what was the city?
Vancouver, BC.
Vancouver. Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So started going to Pride festivals and such, and getting exposed to people that didn't seem actually that different than me at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. And then so you were at your parents' house, and then what eventually happened?
I was accepted into the university in Bellingham, Washington, where I'm from. Cool. So that was like, I got back in December and I started going there in March. I think I don't think I moved out to the fall.
Right.
But I eventually moved out with all my gay friends. We had this house kind of close to downtown Bellingham. We called it Fort Fagsworth, and it was in the gayborhood. Like all our neighbors were gay. It was just it was a sweet little moment in time. Yeah,
that sounds great.
One of us had good supportive parents, but everyone else pretty much didn't. So we kind of banded together for support and made it work.
Glad you guys found each other, because it seems like if people don't have that, it's really difficult for them.
Yeah, it was super hard even with that. So I can't imagine doing it without that support.
Well, I think that's another reason why it seems like people don't, like, they tend to come out later in college, because then they have that network a little bit more. So
definitely,
as opposed to like small town life, like, man, people coming out in like small towns, especially like back then. I don't know if it's easier now. I mean, I hope so. I can only hope it is, but
I don't know.
I don't know.
I had the weird experience of like coming out unintentionally and very publicly. I was a drag. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm in my head instantly goes to like, I'm imagining like you're like on a stage, and then all of a sudden you say something and you go, didn't mean to say that. Like, you have that oh shit moment. Didn't mean it. Not right now.
I was kind of asking for it. And it was all good, but
that's good.
I was in a drag king group before I even really knew I was gay. I was experimenting with gender stuff. Like I mentioned, starting when I was about 12, I started wearing pretty much exclusively men's clothing, like men's pants and a lot of like baggy shirts and tank tops, and like very gender neutral. So when I was 19, me and some friends started a boy band. So we were doing like, New Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys,
nice.
like mashups and dance choreography and lip syncing. And, I don't think we were great, but we were not horrible either. Like people liked it, and we got some decent gigs. And,
cool.
We did Pride in Bellingham Pride, the main stage right downtown. And a picture of me and my friend Whitney ended up on the front page of the Bellingham Herald Sunday edition, which goes out to the whole county.
Oh,
and I'm from out in the county. Bellingham's like the little liberal bubble, the little heartbeat of blue amongst a sea of red in Whatcom County.
That's the way it is out west.
Totally. Or just anywhere in the U.S. once you're outside of a major city.
It's true.
Really.
It's really true.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And the next morning, I didn't know it had happened, and I get a voicemail. I wake up to a voicemail from my mom, and she says, I saw the paper.
No.
I still love you. And hangs up.
Oh,
I was like, shit, what just happened?
At least that happened.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, like it could have been.
Could have been so much worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially being very religious, I'm sure. Like that's a very good way to handle that, I would think, on the spectrum of things.
Totally. I think it helped that I wasn't living with them too at that point. So that's nice.
that would not be.
Yeah, not fun.
No, I'm sure. So in your song "Breaking the Box," since we're talking about religion and all that stuff, and you just played a wonderful version of it, which people either hear at the beginning or at the end. Probably at the beginning now, because we're talking about it now.
Maybe should do that.
Yeah, it sounds good. So where did you end up then? Because the song seems to be talking a lot about seeing God and everything, more or less.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to assume that's where you ended up.
That's where I end up. So I spent about, I would say, the last decade feeling pretty jaded overall, and like, fuck you and fuck your God. And like, I listened to a lot of Perfect Circle, Judith, Screamo it, shit like that. I definitely, like, I wouldn't say went to the dark side as in I got into anything dark, but like dealt with a lot of darkness within myself.
Like the New Atheists or anything like that, like Sam Harris and all that. I got into that.
Oh, that's totally valid direction to go. I just got apathetic mostly. And I was like, I don't know, you don't know, none of us actually know anything. And definitely had a lot of resentment towards my parents and towards people that I felt abandoned and rejected by because I didn't believe the same things that they did. So I dealt with that, and I feel like I finally just in the past few years come to a place of peace with myself and spirituality. And I mean, it's not like you ever get there, but like I'm getting closer to it. And I don't think I don't know, maybe you will. You let me know.
No,
but
not a chance.
I think I'll probably always be kind of searching and curious rather than feeling like I know anything definitively.
So is that hard then when you you were living with your parents, but were there other people that sort of resisted your change, I guess, from being religious?
Not anything super intense, because my social life changed so much between when I was 16 and I started college and when I was like 19-ish and living outside and coming out. So I didn't deal with a lot of that. Sometimes I'd run into people from church or people I knew from childhood who would be like, you should come to church sometime and stuff like that. But it was very benign, you know.
Yeah.
They all intended, you know, they had good intentions. Yeah. So nothing too hurtful.
That's good. 'Cause it took me a long time to get to the point where I could realize that people they're just trying to do the best they can.
Absolutely.
Everybody's trying to do the best they can.
Yes.
And so, but
they
I know,
are. And if you really think that like somebody is going to die, eternal hellfire is coming their way if they swear or like, I don't know. If you really think that, like you're going to call people out on stuff. Like I get that. I used to be on like the chat rooms telling people Harry Potter was evil. And like, you know, I was like that kid.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, man. People saying like it was satanic or something, and then you read it and you're like,
what?
What are you talking about? This is just silly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've actually never read it all the way through.
I've read the first 4, like much later into adulthood, and I was like, you know, I might have liked it when I was younger, actually, but I feel like I missed the train on that.
See, I feel like it's the same way with that and like Star Wars or something, where it's like if you don't watch it in that very specific window, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I watched it again as an adult, the old ones. I was like, oh man, that was my favorite thing when I was 11, and it is not that good anymore.
Yeah,
the new one I really liked though.
It was very fun.
I saw it twice.
Yeah, it was good. It was really
They
great.
did a good job.
So you say like you're seeing God in everything. So like what do you mean in the song, and like what do you mean by that in general?
I look around the world and I see how everything grows. Like I see the flowers growing through the sidewalk and the grass, and I see how everything seems to move with the right conditions and love. And I feel like on some level, like what makes me grow as a person, what makes that piece of grass grow, like I feel like it's all pretty similar. It's like you need air, you need water, you need light, you need good conditions, you need love. Like all of those forces coming together create this situation of love that allows something to bloom and grow. So I look around and I see that, and that is kind of my understanding of God at this point, is that it's all around us. It's a force outside of us, but it is us.
Okay.
So that's pretty like abstract out there way to describe it. It's not something I totally understand, but I do feel like that moment is everywhere. And I think that source is in everyone, whether they are expressing it in a way that's very godly or not. You know, we all we have our own free will.
So maybe it's like almost like the power to like nurture something almost.
Yeah.
Like that ability, or like the
creator
of that,
the force. Yeah, let's bring it back to Star Wars. It's the force.
As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, well, okay.
It's cool. I'm glad you said it, not me. Daisy uses the force.
Yeah, Daisy uses the force. Oh my God. Yeah, no, maybe so just creating then.
Yeah. And that's why I love writing songs. It's like this organic process.
Well, I suppose you see that a lot because you're touring quite a bit from what I understand, right?
Yes, I'm trying to tour as much as I can.
How often do you do that?
I was out about 4 months total last year, and
That's awesome.
Shooting for more like 5 to 6 months total this year. Not because I like love the road, but because I do love a lot of it, and I have a new album I need to promote.
Yes.
So I'm I've had 6 months at home working on the album, finishing it up, doing the Kickstarter, and regrouping after a busy year of travel. And now I'm starting to feel that itch. I'm kind of getting a little stir crazy.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, so you're gonna go for like 6 months. Did you have the
I
tour
have
all
just like
charted
the
out?
first 3 months really figured out.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to decide where I go after that. If I'm going to go to Europe, or if I'm going to focus on different parts of the States, or if I'm going to come home and make another record, when I want to have my album released. I mean, I probably will have figured all this stuff out and done it by the time you share this podcast. But
yeah, I mean, this will probably come out in like a month or 2
Oh,
months.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm trying to do it every
tuned.
2 weeks, so it'll be probably 2 months or so.
Cool.
But yeah.
Hopefully in the fall, I'll have an album release.
Okay. Well, we can probably try to set it up so this comes out when that.
Cool.
So we'll do that.
That'd be awesome.
So what was it like starting to tour? Like,
oh man.
all right, that sounds like a story. Let's hear it.
I don't know if it's that much of a story. It's just kind of like doobie-doo, you know? You're just like throwing yourself out into the world and trusting and having faith and sleeping in all kinds of questionable places with people you just met, and it's
like,
good.
what was the strangest
you know?
one?
Folk Alliance was probably the strangest. Have
Really?
you been to Folk Alliance?
No.
Okay. Folk Alliance is this annual conference. It was in Memphis the first time I went, and now
Okay.
they're having it in Kansas City for a few years. But it's
cool.
this international organization of folk musicians. People come from all over the world to play their songs. It's like pay to play. You pay to get into the conference.
Yeah.
You pay for all your showcase time slots.
Oh my God.
and people do it.
Yeah.
And it was just insane. Like I volunteered for a showcase room to get a place to stay. So at 3 a.m.
Okay.
when they're done with showcases, I could like roll out a mattress and sleep. So I'm doing like workshops and trying to experience as much of the conference during the day. And then I'm volunteering, hosting showcases, not playing, hosting them at night and sleeping on the floor, but not really sleeping because I was sharing that room with 3 other people.
Oh my God.
And one of them was having like a serious mental breakdown and suicidal and hadn't slept in weeks and was just like totally
What?
nuts. So, and these people are all like 20 years older than me, of course. I'm like the
yeah.
25-year-old social worker that's just like taking care of everybody.
Well, it seems like, no, I shouldn't. Well, it seems like in like the folk community, it's a lot more older people as opposed to like, you know, like maybe the indie rock community where it's like, oh, you're 30? You're old, man.
Yeah. Yeah. With folk singing, you kind of grow into it. It's like wine, you know,
Yeah.
you get better with age. Not necessarily the case with indie rock.
No. What is it?
It's like 20 something's
well, Willie
problems.
Nelson didn't even, I don't even think he put out a record till he was like 40.
Yeah. He was older.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, you can't really do that with indie rock.
No.
You know, you
Different
gotta,
world.
You gotta be going through puberty when you start.
Exactly.
Otherwise it doesn't work. Okay. So that was really strange.
Yeah,
going
that
all
just kind of, that was my first real dive into that world. And
Mm-hmm.
I started touring. I took off a couple months after that. So that happened in February of 2012. Then March came 2012,
Yeah.
South by Southwest. I see a lot of the same people again. It's a
Yep.
lot of like connections getting strengthened, friends for the road, all of that.
Right.
So then I go out. I quit my job in June and I hit the road and I head north. And I didn't play a ton of gigs. It was before I had anything recorded, so it was a lot harder.
Yeah,
I was just
yeah.
starting to write songs. Like maybe I started about a year before then, like
Okay.
really seriously trying to get into it. Just from a writing perspective, not
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sharing it, but just working on the craft. So I just started rambling around and going to friends' shows and playing a few shows. Like I had a good hometown show up in Bellingham, Washington, where I'm from.
Nice.
That was like the focus of the whole thing. But yeah, I basically just lived on the road for 6 months and wrote songs and saw different songwriter friends around the country and
Sounds awesome.
learned a lot from a lot of great people.
That sounds awesome.
Trimmed some weed, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, man.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
do whatever you have to.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember being 18 and on the road and being so broke, realizing I have enough money to get a $1 bag of chips to eat for today.
Yeah, that
and then
sucks.
you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's fun.
it is.
It's
You
fun.
learn a lot.
And did you go by yourself?
Yes. But I
So you
spent
just
a
drove
l-
by yourself?
I did, yeah. That's what I do. Shh,
So you
don't
do
tell
that-
the world. No.
Yeah. Daisy's driving in a car by herself.
Yeah,
So then did you like sleep in your car and do all of that?
No, I don't really do that. At that point I was doing a lot of camping. And I
Okay.
actually worked that summer at a hot springs where I could camp
Oh,
and where, you know, I kind of had like meals provided and such. So I wasn't
That's
there full
smart.
time, but I was there, you know, I'd have a week here and a week there. So it's kind of like one of the home bases. So I'd stay in Bellingham, stay
Okay.
with my friends, stay with my parents a little bit, and I would go to the hot springs
Okay.
and stay there and like kind of bop between Oregon and Washington all summer
cool.
long and then down to California.
Yeah.
And then I met Shawnee Kilgore for a music conference in LA.
Oh, yeah,
and then
Shawnee.
headed back. Yeah.
Okay. And is she the one that really got, well, you were already down here, right?
I actually followed Shawnee down here. She was already down here. I came to visit her on a whim and instantly realized I needed to move here.
It's a good place.
Yeah, it's a great place and everyone is so nice. And the thing that's different about Austin and where I'm from is that there are some songwriters and musicians in the Northwest. There's some really good ones.
Oh, yeah.
But
Seattle,
I never.
Portland, there's some great ones up there.
Yes, I didn't live in Seattle or Portland, to be fair, but the feeling I got while I was up there was that I was an outsider and that there was
Okay.
no way in. Like I
Huh.
would go to open mics and it didn't feel like there was really a community or that there were other songwriters I could like learn anything from or
Yeah.
connect with. And my first night in Austin was like, oh, I like them. I like them. I like them. They're all nice. Everybody was like, you like songs too? Cool. Let's have a potluck. Let's all jam. Like
Yeah.
everyone here is just like doors open.
Yeah, everyone
and
here is
I felt
great.
very different for me in the Northwest.
Yeah, the Northwest is pretty intimidating. I know my first open mic that I ever did when I was getting back into it was in Portland.
Oh boy.
And it was at one of the McMinimans.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize how serious it was when I went there because people had like driven from Washington to like go do this thing.
It's a big scene.
Yeah. And so I remember I got there and I got so nervous and I drank too much. I got on the stage.
I've done that at open mics.
Yeah.
They're so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, especially when you're first starting out and you're watching people and you're realizing you've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing this for like a couple months.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
then you get really afraid.
Yeah. And you're like, oh shit, I have to go up there. Great.
Yeah.
I came all this way. I can't not do it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's like anything though. You just do it and then you get through it and then you move on.
Yep.
Yeah. So did you do open mics when you came down here?
Yes.
In Texas?
Definitely.
Is that how you
House
started?
wine, open mic. Yeah, that was my hang for the first couple years here.
Yeah, it's a good place.
It's a great hang.
Still go there every once in a while, try out
I
some
know.
new songs.
I need to start going there more. I have all these new songs and I just
show up Monday. I'll be there Monday.
I know.
Come on out.
I probably will.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's a
let's
plan.
do it.
Okay. So was it nice then to get back to Texas after touring?
Yes. It was so nice. I got back and I got a room with a door that closed and a kitchen.
Did you not have one before?
I mean, I was on the road for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
So I was sleeping on people's couches and camping, mostly camping.
Yeah.
So having a room with a door that closed was a really big deal. And I was so happy.
Some semblance of privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my roommate was great. He was never home. So
those are the best
roommate.
kinds.
Yeah.
Those are the best kinds, ones where it just feels like you have your own place.
Yeah. Super great.
Awesome.
Good fit.
So you made it back to Texas. The other song that you played was Texas Rain.
Yes. I got back to Texas and wrote that song.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because I have some thoughts as to what that's kind of about, but you want to tell us the story of that song?
Yes. I wrote that song the spring of 2013, spring, summerish, and it was the middle of the drought. It just had not rained in recent memory.
Yeah.
And I had so many friends that had left because of that, or had left on tour, or, you know, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you see people in beautiful places, living the dream. And I was stuck in Austin cleaning houses for relative peanuts, $12 an hour or whatever.
It's
and
not
just
much.
yeah,
Here.
And it's pretty hard work,
Yeah.
So I was just working really hard and trying to get my shit together, like all the time, like working and then coming home and writing songs and gigging and like super introverted and socially anxious and kind of struggling with my own demons. But it was before I reached out to Sims, so I was kind of just struggling alone and feeling like I wasn't worthy of the help and all that.
Yeah.
So that
Was
song
that
came
something
from
you
a pretty
struggle with a lot?
desperate. Yeah, I think I have throughout my life. My mom's really depressed, so as a kid, I was kind of the strong one for her.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I got into adulthood that I got to actually like start to feel some of my own feelings, I think, related to that. So
you kind of shut them off so that you could help your mom.
yeah, I think kids are really good at surviving. People are really good at surviving. So
Well, yeah, that's the thing. People develop behaviors to like make it through, and then later when you're in a different situation, you have to come to terms with the fact that like, oh, that behavior that I had is no longer helping me. It's actually making things worse.
definitely.
And so,
Like I'm very like Kimmy Schmidt. Like I see the bright side of everything, like super positive, but also that's a front for like not freaking out all the time. So
really?
yeah,
Because that was one of the
totally.
things. I definitely have it right here. Like, because as I was listening to your EP, and we'll get back to Texas Rain in a second, but as I was listening to your EP, it was very positive.
Yeah.
It came across as being very much like empowering. In the sense where you have this ability to like do and be in the world.
Yes.
And to sort of make it what you want.
We do. I think we all do. We have that in us.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. But sometimes I guess it's easy to forget that.
It is. That's why we got that song.
Yeah.
Just kind of remind us about it.
Well, it seemed like that was your mantra almost for a while.
Oh yeah, it still is. It might always be. I'm obsessed with tattoos right now. Like I see all this naked real estate on my skin, and I've been thinking about getting a doobie-doo, like a little nod to each album that I release. I know it would be doobie-doo is just a nice thing to remember. Like do stuff. Like don't just lay in bed all day. Feels good to do something,
sure,
but also like give yourself that time to be and meditate and play and do the things you love and like just find that balance.
Yeah, which is something everybody seems to need.
Yeah.
If you go too far in either direction, you're going to become very unhappy.
Yeah. I've been the chronic doer for way too long. So coming to Austin was a good chance to just dial it back. Like I still have been working really hard since I got here, but it's a different pace than I had when I was a social worker.
What was that like being a social worker?
It was like constantly getting punched in the gut and having to like be strong. Like you just you see people on their worst day every single day, and you have to be strong, and people that have like no resources and no hope. Right. And you're the person they're coming to, and you know there's not really that many resources and hope, and budgets are getting slashed everywhere. And it was just really, really rough. And I had a 24-hour hotline that I would have for a week at a time. Wow. And it's like, if you get a call in the middle of the night, you got to go to the ER to pick someone up, or you got to go kick someone out of the domestic violence shelter because they're trying to burn it down, or assault someone. And just like, it was always crazy stuff. So I definitely drank pretty heavily during that time, in my spare time, not when I was on duty. I was very social. I mean, I had a great group of friends in Bellingham. We would go to all the music festivals. We'd go to all the shows. We'd go out dancing. We'd have potlucks all the time. Like, it was a really beautiful time in my life for that way socially, but it was all kind of a response to having this really challenging job and trying to like take care of myself extra all the time. Massage, acupuncture, doing all these happy things to try to keep myself up. And I just ended up spinning myself out because I was doing so much all the time.
Yeah. My goodness. 'Cause I mean, I know that jobs like that have a very high burnout rate.
Yeah, usually a year. I was in it for 5 years. Jeez, so I feel like I can just pat myself on the back forever for that.
Yeah, I think so. I taught in high school for a little bit, and that was I did that for like 6 weeks. And I was like, never doing that again. Ever.
Yeah. I did a lot of that. That was part of my job, was going into high schools and middle schools and talking about healthy relationships. And I would go and give the same 1 hour presentation 8 times a day. Oh, man. Back to back, day after day after day.
And then you start getting to that place where you're like, did I say that already?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Man.
That was when I realized that I could be a performer, though, and that people engaged really quickly once I started saying anything. I was like, I could maybe get in front of people and not just kind of regurgitate something that I'd learned from someone else.
Well, and so what was the ultimate like push to get you to go into songwriting? Because you had this life, and you were doing the
I was doing what I went to school for. I was doing all that. Yeah. Well,
sounds like you were doing it well too, if you were able to do it for 5 years.
Yeah, I think I was good at it. I wouldn't say I was the best. I definitely could have grown into it a lot more, but I was pretty good considering I started doing it when I was 19. I think I got into that work because I'd already kind of been doing it my whole life, coming from a family where there were some challenges. Yeah. It was something like comforting people that were a lot older than me and helping them get through tough times was very familiar to me. Yeah. But when I started connecting with music again, so as I mentioned, it was really religious. All the songs are about Jesus. And then I stopped believing in Jesus and I stopped playing music. Okay. Aside from like Jewel, You Were Meant for Me, I still would go to that jam sometimes when my heart was broken.
Yeah. Everybody has those. Everybody
has those jams. But I pretty much never played. And then when I was about 23-ish, I picked up a guitar at one of my friends' potlucks. They were just passing it around, and someone handed me the guitar. And I played something, no idea what, but everyone was like, "Oh, wow, you can sing and play guitar?" I was like, I guess I still can, yeah. And we started jamming. Me and my friends, Kelly and Lissa, started a little band called Leo Trio. Cool. And it was fiddle, mandolin, and cello, and guitar, keyboard. You know, we all kind of like shuffled around. Yeah. Kelly played like 3 things, actually. That's awesome. Lissa and I did not shuffle around. But I started writing songs. Kelly started writing songs. And we got to open for our now friend Gregory Alan Isakov when he played a house show in Bellingham. Cool. And him and Jeb and Phil, his bandmates, were so kind to us. I mean, I'm sure we're not very good, but they were so kind and supportive. And when I was coming to Austin, I stopped in Boulder and saw Gregory play. And he and his girlfriend at the time pointed me to his friend in Austin, Johann Wagner. When you get to Austin, you gotta check in with Johann. And so the day I get to Austin, I message Johann. He gets right back to me. Let's get coffee tomorrow at Bolden. Next thing I know, I am in far west Texas a week later at Johann's songwriting retreat in the middle of nowhere. Wow. And the rest is history. So Gregory really inspired me to write. I fell in love with his music, discovered him at a house show initially, and he blew my heart open.
He's incredible. He's really good.
Yeah, he's so good. Like the first time I saw him play, I didn't want to go to the show. I didn't know any singer-songwriters that I liked. I thought it was just like a bunch of pretentious, stupid white people problems, and there's real issues in the world. And, I was just like so not into it. And my friend Tony dragged me to the show. And so I'm sitting in the back of the living room on a couch. My arms are crossed. I just have the worst attitude. And Gregory starts singing, and I was like, oh, fuck, this doesn't suck at all. Like nothing about this sucks in any way. And I can't remember a single line he sang. I don't even think I could really understand what he was saying, but it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I started writing songs after that point.
Yeah. So it was
all about Gregory. Thank you, buddy.
It's almost like an epiphany, like an emotional epiphany or something.
Yes. Hit my heartstrings.
Yeah. Man, I remember, I had, was it Ryan Adams' Heartbreaker? Because I used to play metal music and all that. Okay. And then all of a sudden somebody put on, I worked at a record store, and somebody put on that record. And I remember I just like stopped. And
oh my God. It's so good.
I was like, I want to play. I want to do that. I want to do that.
That's the real thing.
That's what I
right
want to do.
there. Yeah.
And so it's so great. But Texas Rain, we got to get back to that.
Okay.
We don't have to, but I want to.
Take us there.
Because it seems that song seems to deal quite a bit with loss and like how to handle that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Which you're
being left behind, abandonment, almost.
Was that, and that was a way that you were feeling at the time with all your friends leaving?
I think that's a way that I've felt a lot through my whole life. Like I tend to love people who I cannot be with.
Okay, is that
whether because they're already with someone else or because we don't live in the same place or whatever. Yeah. So I think it was, without getting like way too personal.
Oh, sure,
it was about certain people in my life that I couldn't be with.
Yeah.
And seeing them, and I think it all connects back to your family too. Like when you feel something that strong and like feeling abandoned by your family because you can't be together. Yeah. It's all connected.
Yeah, you can't. For whatever reason, you can't have the relationship that you want.
Yeah.
And that's an incredibly tough place to be in, especially because I know, like, just to relate a little bit for myself, I know that I've definitely had a couple different people where it's like, if she were to call me right now, I'd be like, Daisy, I gotta go.
Right, exactly. I must take this call.
Yeah, not even I have to take this call. Like, I'm gonna go to the airport.
I'm leaving right now.
Yeah, it's just like I gotta go. If I don't go, I'm gonna think about it for another year.
Forever. Yeah. I'm never getting over it.
Yeah, it's really it's tough when you see that happen.
It is.
You have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you put it into a song, and in the song, it seemed like the person was sort of having a bit of difficulty with this, like drinking a bunch.
Yeah.
And
that's all fairly autobiographical. Yeah. I mean,
well, I mean,
let's face it.
Oh, totally.
Who hasn't done that?
Oh, everybody has. I think everybody has. That's almost like the standard reaction anymore.
Yeah. I would not say I've ever been a super lush. I don't think I've ever needed treatment or anything, but I've definitely drank regularly. like every day.
Happened? I mean, did you
just in general, like coping with your tough emotions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Relating to relationships and abandonment.
Did you ever have like a point where you woke up or you looked at yourself and you were just like, this has gotta stop?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I go through long periods of like having a drink or two up to 4, like most nights a week, and then not drinking for like a year or 2.
Yeah.
I'm in the not drinking phase, which is so great. I'm so into it.
Yeah. And then you're like, when you're in that stage, you're like, God, why don't I do this all the time?
Yeah.
And then
I go on vacation with my cousins and we're in wine country, like I have some wine, but I feel like it's really helped me like check it. And I feel like I'm in a lot better place now. So that's good. Hallelujah. But when those tough times roll in, hopefully I won't turn to booze every time, but it will always be there.
Yeah.
It's like God and booze. Both of them always there.
Oh,
what are you going to turn to?
Yeah. Take it. Well, of the two,
exercise.
Yeah, exercise.
Go to that one. Yeah.
That's not a bad one. Well, because I've heard that you got to replace things. You can't just get them out. You can't just like suppress your bad feelings. What you have to do is actually, find something to replace them with, which is what led me, I know personally, to start exercising more.
It's great.
Because because I was smoking for a little bit and then I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it's so bad for you.
This is stupid.
Yeah.
Because
bad when you sing too.
Well, yeah, because I'd go to play shows and I'd start whiffing notes.
Oof.
And I'm like, I can hit that. Smoking. Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, done.
Yeah. That's a no can do for singers.
No. I mean, some people, no.
Some people
Tom
do
Waits,
it.
Tom Waits quit. He had to quit eventually. But yeah. And I take it your voice sounds too clean.
I don't smoke. I've never smoked cigarettes.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
No one ever should. It's a bad idea.
Yeah. I did smoke some hookah last week, and I was like, wow, that tastes like candy. I should never do this again. I was like, that's how they get you.
Oh, totally. You have that moment where you're like, this is
so good. I feel great. It tastes like candy. No, walk away.
Yeah. No, I feel like anytime you have that experience where like, this is incredible, it's like, I probably there's a hook somewhere.
Yeah, that's kind of what Texas Rain is about too. Is like the wine and the women. Never knew the limits. I'm not ready to win. It's like you can just kind of keep running on those quick fixes for as long as you want.
Right.
Booze and casual hookups, like that stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a relatively attractive, relatively nice person, or if you're just really good at manipulating people, like you can do that pretty much in an infinity loop of that, but that's not exactly what I want in life. So
no,
trying something different. What was that?
I think that was just, don't worry about it. That's not going to show up. But no, well, it's good that you know that you don't want that. So I'm assuming then there was a stretch of, cause everybody's had that stage.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone has had that.
I've had many of those phases.
Yeah. And I mean, but it's a good point to get to where you can realize what you actually want.
Yeah.
And I mean, so where did you end up with like what you actually want in terms of relationships or with
I
this
don't
song?
know.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know where I've gotten.
Yeah.
I'm single and I'm pretty happy with that because I'm breaking the box, if you will, of running after people that don't want me and only being interested in people they would never work out with. So time will tell, really. This is just kind of the rebuild phase.
Yeah, so you're trying to change some patterns a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
My
hard.
general thing this past few years has been like, oh, I'm attracted to that person. Yep, that's a bad idea. I know where that goes.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to be over here.
That's crazy. That's so amazing that you say that because I'm definitely, it's a little bit different, but I definitely gravitate towards people where it's like, this is a bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm into it.
Yeah, we're songwriters. That's where all the songs come from.
Exactly.
Not all the songs. That's where a lot of easy songs come from.
Yeah. Well, it's like you almost get addicted to the constant upheaval.
Oh, yeah. A lot of
everything.
songwriters I know are like that. They
Really?
chase toxic relationships because something about that emotional turmoil is familiar, and that's where they get their muse from. I personally would like to write songs more about anything other than heartbreak, ultimately. Those songs happen. Texas Rain is one of them, but I would love to not have every song I write be in that place.
Sure. So then piggybacking on that, is it hard for you to just sort of not have that sort of chaos?
No, it's really easy for me to not have that chaos, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a tendency to live a pretty monastic lifestyle. I was homeschooled, very, very still, calm life, like country. Spent a lot of time on the San Juan Islands, out at a monastery. My mom was friends with the nuns. And I kind of always gravitate towards that pastoral setting in my mind, and like a very simple, slow, still life. I don't listen to a lot of music. I don't consume a lot of media. I write, I sing songs, I take a lot of walks. I just kind of try to live a simple, nose to the grindstone, but still enjoying life kind of existence. So it's pretty easy for me to avoid drama and chaos in relationships.
So then an average day for you then, what's that like?
I get up in the morning and I make coffee and I do my morning pages. I've been using 750words.com for the past few months. It's just kind of like your artist way morning pages, but it lets you know when you've done the right amount of words that would equal 3 pages. It's just kind of your mind dump, get yourself organized for the day thing.
Wow.
Then I usually take a walk, do some kind of exercise, take a shower, do some emailing, tour planning, have a few meetings.
Yeah.
And go to a show or two in the evening. I've been going dancing a lot lately.
cool.
Yeah, try to like have something fun to look forward to on a daily basis. Otherwise, it gets pretty depressing.
Yeah, because it sounds pretty solitary
Yeah.
up until that night activity.
Yeah, it's pretty solitary.
Which-
I try to have a meeting or two during the day when I can.
Okay.
Doesn't always happen.
And
Sometimes
these are
the
just
first time I
meetings with, like,
talk.
tour, like recording. or
Other
just-
musicians usually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
other people in the industry in some way. Friends where we just kind of talk shop and what we're
Okay.
working on and such.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Accountability.
Well, because so much of music is about relationships. That seems like that's a good
Yeah.
way to do it. Like, which is something that's hard for some people to figure out. Where it's like,
It's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I feel so lucky. It took me a few years in Austin to
Mm-hmm.
find people that felt like my inner circle. Like
Yeah.
it definitely took time, but I just have the sweetest friends. And man, so many people are moving deep south right now.
where are they
it's
moving?
deep
Wait,
south
oh,
or
like-
deep north in Austin.
Yes. Okay.
People can't afford the central so much. And a lot of
Yeah.
people are east, but a lot of my
East
closest
is getting
friends.
expensive too, though.
Oh, East is getting really expensive. Yeah, a lot of my friends in recent years have relocated themselves pretty deep South Austin. I live
Okay,
pretty
like
far
Slaughter
out.
Lane or something like that.
Yeah, down that neck of the
Wow.
woods. So I just have a lot of friends in the
Mhm.
hood and a lot of people I get to see every day or pretty regularly. So
That's great.
feel really lucky.
Yeah, that's good because I know that's the one thing that isn't that great about this area. There aren't that many artists around,
Yeah.
but we have good tacos near.
Yeah, you're pretty far north. But
Yeah.
yeah, good tacos and good Asian food up here, good Vietnamese and such.
That's really good.
Yeah, way better than
Yeah.
south or east.
Yeah. So let me ask you. This is the question that I like to, and I'm realizing we didn't get to Maria. That's okay. There's a song on her EP, on the Doobie Doo EP. It's called Maria. It's incredible. You should all check it out. And maybe we'll have Daisy back at some point. We'll talk about it then.
Sweet.
Who knows? So the question I like to end with for everybody is just, why do you write songs? The why question.
The why question. To become rich and famous. No, it's not really. I don't actually really want either of those things. It'd be nice to have more money and
Oh.
more money through music.
Yeah.
But man, I feel like writing has just been the one thing that's been there like my whole life
Mhm.
since I learned how to write. It's
Yeah.
always been my solace. It's always been my best friend.
Right.
And like if I'm at a bar and I'm socially anxious, I can just write a poem on my iPhone or I can
Yeah.
just, like write in my book. Writing's always there for me. So I think songwriting's just like my best outlet
Mhm.
and way to communicate with myself and figure out what I'm actually feeling about something. So I write pretty much because I have to.
Okay.
I don't like, even if I'm not writing songs and performing them in a few years, I'm sure I'll still be writing pretty much every day.
Yeah.
It's just something that I do and have always done.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, well, we're about at an hour. So
Right on.
thanks for coming on the show, Daisy.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely.
It's been fun.
It's been great. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye. Got that warm Texas rain on my chest, in the place where her head used to rest. On a Sunday morning, she left without warning when the summer came. It's been a couple of months. Texas is drier than dust. She's been to the ocean, she's been to the mountains. I've been cleaning up. Texas rain, Texas rain, bring my baby back again. Creeks flow, grass grows, wildflowers, waterfalls. Texas rain, bring her back again. She's a singer, a traveling girl. Threw all her cards in for the world. She got what she's dealt. She plays what she must. Her face is trust. But the road twists and turns round the bend. I find myself soaking up gin. The wine and the women never learned the limits. I'm not ready to win. Texas rain, Texas rain, bring my baby back again. Creeks flow, grass grows, wildflowers, waterfalls. Texas rain, bring her back again. I got clothes sticking to my skin. Thunder and lightning, I'm soaked in my sins. Wash it all, please, wash it away. Come on back to Texas rain. Texas rain, Texas rain, bring my baby back again. Creeks flow, grass grows, wildflowers, waterfalls. Texas rain, Texas rain, Texas rain, bring her back again.
All right, everybody, that was Daisy O'Connor with Texas Rain. Once again, the first song that you heard before the interview was Breaking the Box. You can find those new songs on her upcoming record, which will be released soon. You can find other songs that she's done on her website. I believe it's daisyo'connor.com, or up in all the usual places: Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. I had a lovely time talking with Daisy, and I hope someday we can do it again. You know, I'd love to have her back on the show once we start, getting a little further into it. Now, normally I would spend a bit of time reflecting on the show at this point, but I've got to be honest with you. I just discovered that my air conditioner is leaking water out into the hallway, and I've turned off the air conditioner in my house to try to, defrost whatever is going on. I don't know what's happening, and it's 1,000,000 degrees in my house. I'm eating ice cream that is melting faster than I can eat it because I'm trying to cool my body temperature down, because I think it's like 100 degrees right now in my house. I'm worried that my guitars are going to explode. So anyways, I'm too distracted to really delve into the meaning of everything that just happened in that conversation, even though I would love to. I just can't do it right now because my mind's going, it's all over the place. I'm trying to figure out if there's a coffee shop that will let me bring in about 12 guitars for the night or something. I have no idea what I'm going to do. So anyways, I'm going to make this quick. Thank you, Daisy, for being on the show. Myself, like I said at the beginning of the show, myself and a couple members of my band, we're doing a private house show through Blooming Artists this Saturday, August 6th. Doors are at, I believe, 6 o'clock, music at 7. It's kind of an invite-only thing, but we're doing it so that basically if you email myself or Blooming Artists, we hook you up with some info so that you can come to this show, because we want as many people as we can fit in the room to be there, because we're going to be shooting a little video So if you want to come, I would love you guys to be there. It's going to be great. Shoot me a message at chrisstrandmusic@gmail.com or isthereacoverpodcast@gmail.com. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Daisy is on the road. Look out for her. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Between now and next week, where we've got Phil Hurley of the South Austin Moonlighters, be kind to each other. All right, talk to you guys later. Dude, $5 is a lot of money. I could buy like a box of cereal with that or something like that. I mean, it's not like they put in any effort making those songs. What do you strum some chords?